What is up, ladies and gents? We're going to be taking a thorough look today at the Lion's Roar rifle from the Dragan character pack, looking at it from every angle possible. Hopefully it's going to help you decide whether or not you want this DLC. It's quite an important part of the DLC itself, and first impressions, really great gun. Let's first of all preview it. It looks excellent, really handsome weapon, so that's always a good start. Now moving on to the attachments. No barrel. The barrel exit is the funnel of fun, the custom auto fire gadget. You can drop down a compact laser. You'll notice my detection risk is quite low though, so do try to avoid the ones that lower your concealment. And then surge in sight. We can afford one negative in concealment to keep it below 25 and get that full crit chance with the build I'm running. Surge in sight also comes with all that stability on it, and of course it's a reasonably small sight that won't cover up too much of your screen. Overall, I really like the Lion's Roar. Its iron sights are excellent, so I'm kind of dissuaded to use this red dot sight, but I do feel I'd rather push that stability up even higher. As you can see, looking at the stats on the far right, it really has not impressed me with accuracy, and I've had to drop it down with the funnel of fun. The reason for that? Damage. So I really want the over 45 damage, simply because that allows me to one-shot headshot the most common enemy, the green SWAT on Death Wish, and it makes it a 3-shot to the body instead of 4, and you'll see that a lot with even specials. It's going to take fewer bullets to kill if you have 45 over even one of the other caps you see people aim for, 40 on your assault rifles. 30 is another number I see flying around. If you want to try and max out more accuracy and go for 30, be my guest, but I am a huge fan of the 45 club. So, for that reason, we're going to be working this rate of fire, keeping that DPS crazy high. Accuracy is going to be a problem though. With this sort of rate of fire, you're going to have a hard time controlling where the hell your bullets are going. So, accuracy is really where this weapon falls down. That is why I'm using it as the way I imagine Dragan would use it, as a sort of flanking, close quarters, momentum-based weapon. You run a lot with this. I prefer to run it with the suit, as my detection risk would suggest. A lot of mobility, a lot of quick damage. DPS is so important for Death Wish, killing tasers before they can shock you, killing cloakers before they can hit you, and just romping through the battlefield. Stability is therefore alright, especially thanks to the mods and skills, moving all the way up from 8 to 26, quite impressive. Concealment is just where I want it to be, at 14. You can afford to drop a few points. It's actually not a bad concealment weapon if you choose to run it that way. Actually, you can get it to about 15 detection risk, slightly lower than that maybe overall, and you can run it in a hybrid stealth build if you wish. Now there are a couple of problems you'll see up here. Total ammo 150, that's about standard for assault rifles. Magazine size 30, that's also about standard. However, unfortunately there are no attachments to increase the mag size, which I feel like this weapon could really do with, seeing as how it has such a high rate of fire. It is therefore going to be running out of ammo quite quickly. It's got a reasonably low ammo pickup at about 6 or 7 per, and that's just with the perk deck skill, that's without fully loaded. So it doesn't do too poorly, but on the higher difficulties, you're definitely going to be shooting more than you are retaining. Again, reload speed. Reload speed is kind of interlinked with the amount of ammo magazine size. The lower your mag, the faster you're firing, the more important the reload speed becomes. Unfortunately, this weapon does have a slow reload speed. However, the reload is cancelable if you run when the bullets enter your gun. You can immediately cancel out the reload animation and cut maybe a whole second off it, so that makes a huge difference. Because the reload is as standard quite slow, I recommend Kilmer as a skill. Do keep in mind, if you shoot all 30 bullets in the mag, you end up doing the longer reload animation, which is really long, and you cannot dash cancel out of that. You cannot sprint to cancel it. You have to wait out the full animation time, so keep an eye on your mag. Keep an eye on how many bullets you're firing before you reload. If you can avoid shooting all 30, it will do you favors. Now, as I always like to do with these weapons, comparison is important, and I like to compare in class. So the two weapons I'm going to be looking at are the Car-4 and the Clarion. So the Car-4 is the one we'll look at first, and it is kind of the epitome of all that is assault rifle in Payday. It's considered the all-around best. You can use it for stealth, you can use it for loud. It has an awful amount of ammo, magazine size. Admittedly, the total ammo is only 150 as standard, but the magazine size makes a huge difference when you put the drum mag on it. Rate of fire, though, being much lower means that overall you're not going to feel this lower ammo the same, because obviously there's a huge difference between 600 and 860, but to the same extent that also concerns DPS. Now, this is by no means a damage car for. Overall, you can get it to about 47, close to where we have the Lion's Roar. But that rate of fire means you're never going to match the DPS, really. However, I would much rather have a slower firing weapon with the same overall DPS, because that allows me to hit more shots and it's going to be more ammo efficient. So Car 4 takes it there, but you're never going to be able to get the Car 4 quite up to the damage the Lion puts out. Accuracy and stability, you're going to be seeing reasonably similar numbers. However, you can build the car for a more versatile, all-around accurate weapon, and again, much higher concealment potential for stealth. Then we have the Clarion. Oh my god, this thing shoots quickly. It's a fan favourite, it's the FAMAS, and there's quite a few parallels that can be drawn between the two weapons. They're obviously very similar. We have the 1000 rate of fire to the 860, so the Clarion shoots much faster. However, the Clarion can't quite match the damage numbers. This isn't a fully built version of it, but it really can't get up to that 47. It can, I believe, hit 45 if you stretch it. You're going to hurt accuracy and stability for that. It's a tough weapon to control if you do choose to build it that way, just for that damage. So you're going to have a pretty tough time hitting the damage points where you're going to be doing one shot fewer with the Clarion. However, you shoot so quickly with it, DPS is going to come out very similar. So the only real difference is, looking at it again, would I rather have faster rate of fire or more damage? I'd say more damage every time, for the same reason I've already mentioned, slightly more ammo efficient. They're very similar, very preference based. If you've already had a lot of time with the Clarion or the Car 4, you're probably going to want to stick with those, but if you want something fresh and new, the Lion's Roar definitely comes in top for me, preference wise anyway. Great iron sight, great DPS, and solid enough stability and concealment to work into many different builds. Just remember, gotta stay up close and personal. Just before we jump into the gameplay, I'm going to show you exactly how I'm running this. The secondary I have chosen to bring with me is the Blaster, working that crit. I find SMGs are actually reasonably powerful with crit. There are better alternatives, but the Blaster's not too bad at all. We have the Trench Knife to keep that concealment as high as possible, and then of course Suit for the same reason. The equipment is actually the Doctor Bag, not something I've used in a long time, so nice to be back with the Doctor Bag, allowing me to refill my health charges. And because I'm running Doctor Bag, as we move over to the skills, we can run Swan Song and keep myself going with Inspire over here. So I'm going to quickly run through the skills. Kilmer, as I've already mentioned, up here we've got more steadiness and stability, and healing sort of skills. Enforcer, not an awful lot going on. I like my melee, so I always like 1 point in Pumping Iron and then Transporter. Technician, Rifleman, just that faster snap to zoom is important. Ghost, your standard Ghost skills, plus a small ability. The SMG Specialist, for the SMG you bring in as your secondary. And then finally, Dodge, Crit, Swan Song. Easy. The perk deck is obviously, I got perk points. It's obviously Rogue, because we dodge in with the Suit, gotta keep that concealment low to work the crit, so it's the only real option. Dodge is so powerful for Death Wish. Definitely consider taking a look at this build, and of course the weapon itself if you choose to get the DLC. Let's have a closer look at it in game. Alright, so you've already seen a little bit of gameplay, but I'm going to talk you through what you're seeing right now. A lot of dodging in and out of cover, getting close to enemies. It is the shotgun of the assault rifle class with that DPS. If you run it with the low accuracy I have, it's so powerful. You're going to tear through regular enemies, as I've already said. One-shot headshots to many of the regulars on Overkill and Death Wish difficulty. Is it any good at dealing with specialists? Well, it's an assault rifle, so you're not going to have particularly great tools to take out your bulldozers or your shields, but it's got the DPS to burst down cloakers and of course tasers, so it's certainly stronger against them than you might find with some of your shotguns or your sniper rifles, and it holds up well because you can move around quickly with this. You can move around the sides of shields, burst them down so quickly, and then the damage against bulldozers is absolutely fine once you've got that visor off. If you choose to run the build differently, you could easily run an explosive round shotgun as your secondary. You can even try more enforcer skills with this weapon, but as I've said, I like to be fast I just like to imagine how Dragon would use the weapon. That seems like the most suitable way of using it, and Overkill certainly tailored it to that sort of playstyle. The sort of heist you're going to want to use it on are definitely the armored transports. However, the ones that I've noticed are not great for it. Probably the new heists you're looking at, the bomb heists, especially Forest. Very long sight lines, very difficult to find consistent cover. You're going to get flanked a lot yourself. You really need flanking routes, whereas that's just a very difficult map to walk around without getting yourself spotted out, even when you have control of the upper hill. As such, you're going to be shooting from long distances, and you're going to be missing an awful lot of bullets. You're going to run out of ammo very quickly, and you're just going to get outranged. There were too many snipers on that map as well. I honestly found it was easier to take them out with my SMG from range, put it that way, so this really is the close range assault rifle in the class. Though, I do love it. A lot of the Payday maps are close range. That's why I've always said shotguns are so great. Snipers are even great for that reason as well, because they're like makeshift shotguns with a one-shot close range potential. It's kind of the problem with some of the mid-range assault rifles, why they fall off, because they're just not suited to it. Yes, some maps work it well, like I've already said, the Bomb Forest, maybe even Rats Day 3, but the vast majority of heists either involve holding down corridors or walking around some form of debris, crashed cars, that sort of thing, and this weapon's perfect for that. Even better, you've got hold downs like the Hotline Miami. This weapon will burst down most enemies on Death Wish at close quarters, so it's really good for those sort of maps as well, even though there isn't the same ability to move around on them. Last but by no means least, it's so strong with Swan Song fully aced out. You'll notice a few times in this video, I get into a really tight spot, I go down. I know I've got friends who can revive me, and I'm just going to destroy all that killed me, because I shoot so quickly. It's just bullet hell for whoever's in the direction I am vaguely aiming, and at close range you're going to tear through them, so keep that in mind. Swan Song is a perfect skill to use with this weapon, and you can even consider maybe a part mastermind pistol build with self-revive to maintain yourself consistently throughout the heist. It's a very versatile weapon. However, you do want to adhere to one sort of close range playstyle. It's completely up to you whether you think it's better than the Car or the Clarion, some of the favourites already. However, it's definitely a worthwhile weapon. It's not weak at all, so I'm going to recommend it. Top 3 in class in the assault rifle section, so really good job by the Lion guys. Dragon character pack has to be better than Clover's in my eyes. They've done a really good job with it, and yeah, this is maybe the highlight of it. I know I love the Infiltrator perk deck, but I don't know, this assault rifle is probably going to be my favourite for a while. They're going to have a hard time topping it. Thanks for watching, guys. See you all in the next one.